my Storytime Stars! How are you all today? Today's story is a story for the littlest boys and girls, although older boys and girls might enjoy it too. It's a story called Childland, Picture Pages for the Little Ones. There's some interesting stories about boys and girls from a long time ago. Are you curious about boys and girls from a long time ago? How they played? How they lived? And is it the same as how you live today? Listen to the story today and see if it's quite similar to how you're living your lives today, my Storytime Stars. So, sit still, listen carefully, it's coming up.
La 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 la. La 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 la.
A musical evening. This is a very pleasant way of spending a winter evening, and my young friends like it much. All young folks should learn music. The little cooks. Lucy and Jane are fond of playing at cooks and seem very busy this morning. Lucy is standing on a stool, stirring something in a pot, and Jane is watching the cups on the little stove. I hope the children will not burn themselves, nor make a mess on the floor, or Mamma will be very cross. The wheel off. Oh dear, another accident. Only yesterday the third wheel came off the lamb that little sister used to drag about the room, and now a wheel has come off the pretty chaise in which Dolly rides. But do not cry, baby, we must ask Papa to mend it, and then the chaise will go as well as ever. The broken cup. Laura looks very grave this morning, and no wonder, for she has broken a teacup. Dear. Baby and his doll. Baby is busy this morning with his doll. Bruno is watching by his side, ready to bark at anyone who comes near. The kind brother. Edward is a good, kind brother, for though he has his own lessons to learn, he is holding the thread for his sister Kate, whom he is very fond of, and he tries to please as much as he can. Good boy. Curious John. You are too impatient and curious, Master John. Far better to have waited till Papa had himself shown you the pretty toys he has brought you from the fair. Fast asleep. The sun has been up long ago, but baby is still asleep, with Dolly by his side. We will not wake him, for he went to bed last night very tired. He had been out all day playing in the garden, and seemed quite glad when it was time for him to go to bed, so we will let him sleep a little longer. This will do him good just now, than being out in the hot sun. Dolly's party. This is Dolly's party. The two little girls have been invited to tea with her, and they have each brought their dolls with them. I hope it will be a pleasant party, though of course our two little friends must do all the talking, as Miss Dolly, though she sits there in such state, cannot speak a single word. But I dare say they can talk for her, and themselves too. Don't be greedy. Harriet has had some apples given her But she is so greedy, she wishes to keep them all herself. She has two lying on the sofa already, and yet she does not seem willing to give the third to her little brother. I am ashamed of you, you greedy girl. The pump. Lucy is trying to pump up some water for her little sister, but she should be careful, for the water may run out suddenly and wet little Mary's dress. If this happens, Mamma will be angry, for her dress is a very nice one indeed, and almost new. The lost ball. Oh dear, what shall we do? For we have lost the ball. The water butt is deeper now. We cannot play at all. Learning to walk. Mamma is giving little Mary her first lesson in walking. She is, of course, rather timid, but she will learn presently when she has got a little more confidence. The sick doll. The doctor has just come in to see the sick doll and is feeling her pulse. He tells Mary not to be alarmed, for her doll is no worse and will be quite well in a day or two if she is kept quiet. I am sure Mary will attend to this, as she is very anxious about her doll and wants her to get well. Feeding the birds. Well done, thoughtful Jane, at your morning work again, feeding thus with grain and crumbs every hungry bird that comes. Well, they know you, I can see, or they would more timid be. Helping mother. Well done, Emma. Dinner is just over, and Emma is folding up the cloth and tidying up. What's in the cupboard? Mamma has just caught the children prying into the cupboard. She will be angry with them, I am sure, for being so inquisitive. All to ourselves. Little Emma and George have shut themselves into an upstairs room this morning and are pretending to be Papa and Mamma. They have got Papa's great big boots on the floor, and Emma has dressed the boot jack like a doll and placed Mamma's bonnet on her head. Mamma downstairs will ponder presently what has become of her two little pets. The washing tub. Our little friends are busy this morning, for Dolly's washing must be done before dinner. But there are two of them, and they have got a nice large tub, so they will soon get it done. It will be well for poor Dolly when her clothes are washed and ironed, for she must be very uncomfortable lying there on the floor. Teach me to draw, please. The children have come to see their uncle, the artist. They like to come and look at his pictures, and they are asking him to teach them to draw. It is a nice thing to be able to draw well. Dressed up. Little Richard has been dressing himself up in some old clothes and has got a big walking stick. His brother is amused, but Baby does not seem to know him. The grocer. Mr. Sweet, the grocer, is serving his customers. James has just had some treacle, but he has put his finger into the jug and is sucking it. Naughty boy. It doesn't tick. Mamma, my watch does not tick as Papa's does. I wish you would make it tick. just the size. Our two little friends have been out today with their mamma to buy some stockings for their dolls. They have just returned and are fitting them on, and find they are just the size. The youngest of the doll family is snug in her cradle, but the doll lying on her face on the drawers must, I fear, be very uncomfortable. They will notice it presently, I dare say. Dolly's washing. It is a very serious affair when the day comes round to do Dolly's washing. Lines are hung up in the nursery with a great tub to hold the wet clothes, and after that they are hung across the lines to dry. Our two little friends are as busy as they can be, and they must make haste, for Papa would not like to find his little girls absent when he comes home. The interruption. Do not interrupt our play, Brother Tom. Please go back to your lessons. Lucy's new bonnet. That bonnet is too smart, Lucy. I fear you are too fond of dress. The concert. The children have got Papa's music books and are pretending to sing from them. Even Dolly is stuck up against the wall, as if she were one of the singers. The dog is listening, as though he would ask what is the meaning of all this strange noise, and is barking himself, very dismally, to add to it. The broken doll. This is a sad affair indeed. Little Jane dropped her pretty new doll on the floor while she was playing with her cousin, and now it is broken and spoiled. She is crying as if she would break her little heart over the disaster, but all her tears will not mend Dolly again. But perhaps Papa will buy her another if she asks him. The nosegay. Little Laura has just opened the garden gate and is hurrying off to school. She has a nosegay flower in her hand, which she is taking to her governess, whom she is very fond of. I dare say the governess will like her little present, for everyone is fond of flowers, and still more the kindness which prompted her to bring it. Baby brother. Our baby brother is quite a romp. He is full of fun, and it is hard to keep him out of mischief. He kicks his boots off, pulls off his socks, and his new little woolly lamb and cart was soon torn to pieces. He plays with Bruno in a very rough way, and it is a wonder the dog bears it so patiently. This morning he has seized Tom by the hair and seems highly pleased to have a chance of giving it a good pull. Ready for school. Mamma is plaiting Ellen's hair this morning, and then she will be ready for school. Though her toys are on the floor beside her, yet she stands quite still, like a good girl. Feeding the fowls. Baby is giving some breadcrumbs to the fowls this morning. The cock looks up as though he would say, "Thank you." Being washed. Baby is screaming because he does not like to be washed. This is very naughty. The ropery. Poor little James has come down to the ropery to see the men make string. He has got a great ball of string to fly his kite with. The broken watering pot. Susan is very sad this evening, for she has broken her little watering pot. and so she does not know how to water her flowers. Shoeing the horse. Let him have a good shoe, please, Mr. Farrier, and take care you don't hurt him, for he is a noble fellow. The new jacket. This is a tailor's shop, and Master Albert is being measured for a new jacket. His younger brother, Robert, is to have one too. The pet bird. How pleased Baby is with the pet bird perched on the back of the chair. Fast asleep. The apple cupboard. The children have just found out where Mamma keeps her apples. Half holiday. It is half holiday, and as it is wet, Master Fred is lounging about indoors. Don't forget me. Baby is sitting in the outhouse, eating a piece of bread and butter. Bob is putting his paw gently upon him, as much as to say, "Don't forget me, baby, but give me a bit, please." The bakery. Mary has come to the baker's to buy a new loaf this morning, and she's peeked into the bakery to see how the men make the bread. She must not stay long, though, for they are all waiting at home to have their breakfast. The two little sisters. These two little girls are sisters, and they are very fond of one another, as sisters should be. Wake up, driver! Little Andrew is out early with his grandfather this morning to take a long ride to the next town. They are asking the driver of a coach to take them, but he is fast asleep on the box. Coming out of school. The clock has just struck the hour, and the children are coming out of school. They seem to have forgotten that the snow is on the ground, and that it is very slippery. 3 of them have fallen down, but I do not think they have hurt themselves, as they seem very merry. Baby's flowers. Helping to cook. Little Lucy is helping Mamma to make the nice jams this morning. The snowman. The children have made a great snowman, and they are lifting up Dolly to look at him. The artist. The artist is sitting on a camp stool, taking a sketch of the cottages yonder. He has put up his umbrella to shelter him from the sun. The boys seem greatly interested in his work. Teasing Mamma. The children seem very troublesome and noisy this afternoon. It is well for them that Mamma has such patience, or she would be very angry indeed at their bad behaviour. The visit to Grandmamma. The children are come today on a visit to Grandmamma. She is telling them they have grown much lately, but Miss Pry ought not to open Grandmamma's drawers. Asleep. Maria has been sitting on the sofa this evening, looking through some picture books. But it is late, and Mamma has not yet come home, and she has fallen asleep with her dolly behind her. What shall I do next? It is a wet day, and little Laura cannot go out. So she has been playing indoors and been amusing herself with her dolls. But it still rains, and she is tired of her dolls, and she is asking herself what shall she do next to amuse herself. She must have patience, and Papa will be home to tea presently. The little lamb. Hold it fast, Prince. This is Alfred, the hunter's little son, who has dressed himself up in his father's belt and hat. Prince seems to know what Alfred says to him. The Tin Man. The Tin Man is very busy today with his little hammer, shaping a piece of tin. On the floor around him lie watering pots, coffee pots, tin pipes, and a variety of useful articles, all made out of tin. Blind Man's Buff. Washing hands. Mamma does not like to see her children dirty, so she is washing their hands, and then they can play about again. Baby is looking at his hands to see if they are dirty, and Alice is examining her doll's hands. A rough ride. Baby is having a ride this morning on his brother's back. It is a rather rough ride, and shakes him very much when his brother runs. But he likes the fun, and will be sorry when his brother is tired and puts him down. Carlo is barking beside him with all his might. Making snowballs. It's very cold and the fields are covered with snow. The children are on their way to school, but they have laid their books down for a few minutes. The boys are in high glee, for they cannot make snowballs every day, and there is plenty of snow on the ground just now. I dare say they will be sorry when the snow melts. The new game. Arthur is a very clever lad, as every boy and girl in the village knows. He has just invented a new game, and his playfellows are listening to him while he explains it to them. They are to meet him on the common this afternoon after school, and try if they can play at it. Half afraid. Grandpapa. It's Grandpapa's birthday, and the children have come to congratulate him. The Organ Man. Here, poor Organ Man, here is a penny for you, and I will sit down with my dolly on this log of wood and listen to your pretty tunes. Do you want a carpenter? Little William has dressed himself up as a carpenter, and his sister is pretending to be a fine lady. William is asking her if she wants a carpenter, as he has his tools with him and will be very glad of a job. Susan is sitting outside, pretending to be keeping a coffee stall. How polite. Richard's little cousin has called in this afternoon, and Richard, who is very kind and polite, is handing her some cake and asking her to have a slice. Teasing. Master Sidney is, I am sorry to tell you, very fond of teasing. This is not a nice habit, for although it may begin in fun, it often ends in a quarrel. His little sister does not like it, and he has been teasing her so long that she is now crying. If she tells his papa of it, he will be very angry, as he has often reproved Sidney for this bad habit before. and I was hoping he had broken it off. Sidney ought to do all he can to please his little sister, rather than thus take delight in vexing and annoying her. Baby's bath. Baby is sitting in his little bathing tub, waiting for his sister to come up and wash him. He is beginning to like the water now, and is quite pleased to sit in it and be washed. At first, he did not like it at all, and he began to scream at the sight of the tub. But he has now more confidence, and he likes it very much. It is nice to have a good wash, especially in hot weather, and all children should eagerly be taught to like cleanliness. Baby and rattle. Baby is highly amused to hear his rattle making a noise. The dog seems amused too, for he is jumping up to see what it is all about. Very happy. Wayside flowers. It is a pity there is not more interest taken in wayside and field flowers, some of which are so very beautiful. The confectioner's. This is the shop of Mr. Sweet, the pastry cook. The children have just bought some sweets, and his lad is taking out a large cake on a tray. Out in the garden. It is half holiday today, but it is too warm to run about the fields. So Susan and Emma are sitting in the wheelbarrow at the kitchen door and enjoying themselves as much as if they were sitting in a fine arbour. They have got Kitty with them, who seems to like it as much as they do. When the sun sets, they will water their flowers, for they have got a nice flower bed of their own, and some of the flowers are just beginning to blossom. Being washed. Baby brother is being washed this morning. He does not sit so quiet as he ought to do, and so his sister has, quite by accident, put the sponge in his eye. No wonder he should be making a wry face over it and crying. If he had been still, this would probably not have happened, as his sister is very careful not to hurt him. I hope the next time he is washed, he will try to keep himself quiet. Only a toadstool. The children are out early this morning in the wood to gather mushrooms, and have bought a basket to put them in. They have just found something among the roots of this old tree, which they thought at first was a mushroom. But I fear it is only a toadstool. It looks so very strange. Watching the moon. It is time to put Baby to bed, but her sister is showing her the moon, shining out so brightly tonight in the deep blue sky. Baby is looking up at it, and is perhaps wondering what is up there in the sky, so bright and round. It will shine into her little bedroom nearly all the night long. First steps. Baby is learning to walk and is stepping out boldly. Kitty looks on quietly, but Tiny is barking with joy. The ducklings. Susan's shop. Susan is playing at shop and has placed herself behind a large chair and is looking out for customers. She has dressed Baby up in Cook's great bonnet and jacket, and she is supposed to be the customer, and Susan is asking her what she will buy, as her scales are all ready to weigh up anything she wants. Baby is asking her if she sells barley sugar, as, if she does, she would like to have some. In the nursery. The two little sisters are having fine fun in the nursery this morning. Baby Dolly is to have a bath presently. The other dolls have at last got dressed in their new clothes that have been so long making, and they are being jumped about and walked along as if they were really alive. The children are so fond of their dolls, they never seem tired of playing with them. Sunday morning. It is Sunday morning and everything is quiet in the village. The blacksmith's hammer is still, the horses are in the stable, and the plough lies in the corner of the field. The children are hastening to the Sunday school with their Bible and hymn book under their arm. Walter Rose is reading a psalm to his wife and children, and then they will get ready for church. Giving Doggy a ride. The little sisters have been giving Dolly a ride in their basket chase, and now they think it is Doggy's turn, and they are putting him in the chase for a ride too. I'm afraid he will not sit very nicely, but will be a troublesome rider. Poor Dolly is lying on the floor, on her back. I hope she is not hurt. The gentle cow. The cow is a quiet creature and is one of the most useful of all animals. We have to thank the cow for our nice milk and fresh butter. Mary often carries Baby to the window of the cowshed, and Baby takes hold of the cow's horn. It is so harmless and gentle. The bookbinders. The children have called in to see the bookbinder's shop and are looking at a map, which he has varnished for them. Arthur is telling his little sister he thinks he should like to be a bookbinder. It seems such a nice business. How dark it is! Mamma is going to put Baby to bed, but she is taking her first to the window to show her how dark it is. And now Baby must go to bed, for it is late. The little birds are already asleep beneath the roof, for they go to rest early at night and rise very early in the morning. It is not so dark as this every night, but tonight the moon is not visible. Playing at seesaw. A ride downhill. Master Clarence is giving his sister Kate a ride in a wheelbarrow, but as they are going downhill, I am afraid she will not have a very comfortable ride and will be very much jolted. And the next time he takes her out for a ride, I hope he will find her something larger and pleasanter to ride in. I dare say she will be very glad to get out and walk presently. The thief asleep. Giles Scroggs is a lumpish farmer's boy, fat, silly and lazy. He has but a faint idea of the use of a book, but he understands well the worth of an apple dumpling. One morning the sly rogue got up very early to steal some apples, but climbing the wall to return, he fell asleep on the top, with 3 rosy apples at his side, just as our artist has drawn him. Breakfast time. It is breakfast time, and this is a family just seated round the table. One of the little boys has put his plate upon his head, I suppose to attract attention to his wants. Baby stands on Mamma's knee and seems determined he will not be forgotten. Papa will have enough to do to cut bread and butter for them all. The harvest field. It is very hot in the open fields today, and the reapers are weary. So they are sitting in the shadow of the sheaves and are drinking some water, as working in the heat has made them very thirsty. The sun will go down presently, and then it will be cool and pleasant for them to walk home over the fields. Taking a walk. It is a pleasant spring morning, and the children are out early, taking a walk with Mamma. She is carrying the baby, and little Alice is taking her new doll by the hand to try and teach her to walk. Albert is riding his wooden horse, and Rover is barking at him. He is so pleased. They are not going far, and will turn back to breakfast presently. Wind and rain. How it rains! I am afraid our party in the picture will all be wet to the skin. It is a pity they have only one umbrella among them, and they have a long distance to go before they reach home. It was fine when they started, so they were not prepared for such a storm. But perhaps it will soon be fine again. Watching the gardener. Gardening is a nice employment, and so little Maria thinks, as with folded arms she watches the gardener attending to his plants. She is thinking how she should like to be putting plants into pots, watching for the seeds to come up and the buds to expand into blossoms. Ellen's new Bible. Not hurt, I hope? The road is so slippery this morning after the frost that little Harriet has just had a fall. The sick boy. Master Thomas is very unwell today, so he has to stay at home and take some physic. Under the umbrella. Ellen and Maria are enjoying themselves indoors this afternoon. They are sitting on the floor in the nursery and have put up Cook's old market umbrella to cover them. It is so large it makes quite a tent for them to sit under. They have 2 apples beside them, so I suppose they will have a feast presently. The meeting. Susan has long been expecting her little cousin from the country, and she has just arrived. When Susan has done kissing her, she will tell her how glad she is to see her, and show her her pretty doll and her playthings. The dog, too, is jumping up at her and barking, as though he would give her a welcome also. Medicine for the baby. James has just come to the chemist's shop this morning for medicine for the baby who is sick. The broken cradle. Harriet has just brought her doll's cradle to the carpenter to get it mended. He is telling her to leave it, and he will soon repair it. More kissing. Mamma and baby are always kissing one another, and they will be kissing again when Papa comes home. Playing at bowls. The strolling fiddler. Poor old man, he is playing away merrily, though I dare say he is tired, and has perhaps walked many a mile in this hot day. If he does not play very well, his music pleases the baby at the window. Here, poor man, is a penny for you. The dunce. I am sorry to see that boy with the dunce's cap standing there in the middle of the school. I should think he must feel very much ashamed to be the laughing stock of his schoolfellows. I do hope he will pay more attention. The windmill. The sails go round and the corn is ground. Making jam. Mamma has been boiling some fruit to make jam for the winter, and given the children a large pan which has been used to make it. They are busy getting out every morsel of the syrup, for it is so nice and sweet. Our shop. The tailor's children are having some fun, and with the help of an old chair and their father's sleeve board, have made themselves a shop. Exchanging dolls. The two cousins are each of them tired of their own doll and are wanting to exchange, but they do not seem to like to trust one another, and so each is holding out her hand to the other, and neither of them seems willing to give her doll first. Even the dog looks as if he was surprised at them. Lion's kennel. Robert is cleaning out Lion's kennel this afternoon, for he is very fond of his dog. Lion seems to know well what Robert is doing for him. Learning the lessons. George and Ellen are both fond of learning and never neglect their lessons for anything. They learned them perfectly last night, and this morning they are looking them over again before going to school. I have no fear that either George or Ellen will grow up to be dunces. Who'll have the apple? Reuben is a clever little boy, and for his age knows very much. He has mounted a tree stump in the garden and is asking his brothers and sisters some questions. Whoever gives him the best answers is to have that nice apple he is holding up. They all seem puzzled, even the dog and cat. The reverie. Little Martha has just come up into her bedroom and is leaning her head against the chair, thinking of her dream last night. She dreamed that her uncle had invited her to pay him a visit, and she is just now wondering whether her dream will come true, as she likes going there. King of the castle. Tom has fastened the gate and is laughing at his little playfellows because they cannot get over the palings to him. The stew pan. Mamma has just gone out of the kitchen, and Miss Pry is looking to see what is in the stew pan. This is very naughty. Our half holiday. This is half holiday, and the 4 children are going to have a merry game in the fields. Even baby sister is going with her little dolly, and Doggy seems determined he will not be left behind. I hope they will spend a pleasant afternoon and not get into any mischief. On the wall. What a daring little boy young Edward is! He has climbed to the top of the wall, and his young cousins are cheering him. I hope he will not fall and hurt himself. Shall we ring the bell? Poor little boys, they have no one to care for them, for their mother and father are idle and send them to beg. The children have been told that a kind Christian man lives at this house, and they are going to pull the bell and ask him to help them. Brushing sister's hair. Little Emmeline has just been washed and dressed by her mamma, so now she has got the hairbrush and is standing on a chair brushing her sister Caroline's hair. Caroline has very long hair, so I hope Emmeline will not break it, for of course she does not quite understand how to handle the brush. Baby brother. Baby brother is a great pet, I can tell you. Mamma is afraid to lose sight of him, for fear any accident should happen to him. Jane and Robert watch for his waking up. So eager are they to nurse him, and even Doggy jumps up as if he would say, "Can I do anything for you?" Out in the garden. Julia is playing with her young brother in the garden. The little bird perched up there is looking as if he would like to play with them too. He has a nest in the trees behind, but I dare say he thinks the children are too kind and gentle to molest his pretty little family. Feeding the rabbits. The children are busy in the yard this morning, feeding the rabbits. They have opened the rabbit hutch and are going to give the rabbits some fresh vegetables. The cat behind is looking slyly on, as though she would like to pounce down among them. As Mamma does. Little Bertha is having a tea party. The children have been playing, and now they are having tea, and Bertha is pouring it out for them. Even Dolly is seated at the table, but they have forgotten to take her bonnet off. When tea is over, they will go out and play in the garden. Offended. Something has offended Master Joseph, and he is leaning there in a sullen mood and refuses to play any more. His little sisters are coaxing him to play with them again, and one of them, in fun, has taken his hat off his head. I hope he will not continue to be angry with them and sullen, for I am sure they did not mean to offend him. Just like Grandpapa. Master Samuel is full of fun, and having found his grandpapa's red cap and spectacles, has seated himself very gravely on one of the kitchen chairs, and is pretending to be Grandpapa. I hope he will grow up to be as good a man as his grandpapa is. I can wish nothing better for him, I am quite sure. Off to school. The clock has just struck, and Amy, with her school satchel behind her, is just bidding goodbye to her little sister. She wanted to tell her how to dry her doll's clothes, but she cannot stay now. Floating the ducks. Baby is highly amused this evening. Papa has brought him home 2 little toy ducks, and Mamma has put them in some water in a large tub, where they are floating about. Albert's horse. Albert is fond of striding a wooden horse with a horn at his side. Waiting for the rain. The children were just starting for school when the rain suddenly came on and prevented them, but it will be over presently. Breakfast for Mamma. Mamma is not well this morning, for she took cold yesterday going over the wet fields to visit the poor man who isn't very well. So she is not up so early as usual, and Harriet is taking her a hot cup of coffee. Harriet will not let the servant wait on her mamma when she is ill, because she can herself pay her mamma more attention. She is walking on tiptoe to avoid making a noise, as sick persons like to be quiet. Mamma, I do love you so. Ethel is a loving little girl, and is always clinging about her mamma. Mamma wishes to do some knitting just now, but Ethel is clinging to her, and is saying, "Mamma, I do love you so." I'm afraid Mamma will not be able to do much knitting while Ethel interrupts her in this manner. Making a pudding. Mamma is busy this morning making a pudding, and the children are watching the process with great interest. Richard is asking her whether she is going to use all that great loaf of lump sugar in making it. Tom seems to know better and is telling him if she were to put all that in the pudding, it would be so sweet that they would not like to eat it. How do you do, Paul? Paul is a fine parrot and seems very happy and contented, swinging there on his perch. He likes to be talked to and can answer very plain. If you say to him, "How do you do, Paul?" he will answer you, "Quite well, thank you, and how are you?" Paul is quite a companion. He is so intelligent. John's new toy. John is in high glee, for his aunt has bought him a new toy. It is a figure made of pasteboard, and it throws out its legs and arms. The secret. Emma seems whispering something in her sister's ear as if it was a secret. I do not know why she should whisper, for no one seems near to overhear them. I suppose it is something about their dolls, else about little Fan, who is lying beside them on the floor, who seems to be very tired. Ellen's dream. Ellen is very fond of animals and likes to read about them. Papa has just bought her a pretty book, in which she has been reading a good deal about sheep and shepherds. I suppose it is owing to this that she dreamed last night she was a shepherdess, with a crook in her hand, and her sheep lying in the fields around her, just as our artist has drawn in the picture. Quarrelling. This is a sad scene. The two little sisters are quarrelling over their playthings, and I am afraid the dolls will get damaged in their angry strife. The little lamb lies upset on the chair, the little doll is sprawling on the floor, and the dress of the bigger one will certainly be torn. It is a pity the two sisters should quarrel in this manner, and about such trifles too. Diligent Charles. Charles is one of the most diligent boys in his school. He does not dislike a good game in the playground, but when you see him there, you may be sure his lessons have all been learned first. The diligent schoolboy generally becomes a successful man, but a dunce seldom gets on in afterlife. Tired of it. Arthur Jones has been writing some exercises in grammar this morning. He has not done much, but is quite tired of it already. He wishes the clock would strike 12, that he might leave off and spin the top at his side. Shame on you, lazy Arthur. The sulky girl. Here is a little party of children playing in the woodyard this afternoon. They have been having some merry games and had just arranged to meet again next half-holiday. Suddenly, one of the little girls took offence at something and walked away and would not play any more. It is a pity she is sulky and so apt to take offence. I dare say her little friends did not intend to offend her. The sick dolls. The two little sisters are making a great fuss just now about their sick dolls. They have been making something warm for them, and are now about to put them to bed in the cradle. One of them is being hushed to sleep. They are taking pains to have the mattress smooth and well shaken up, so that the dolls may have a soft bed. But I am afraid the cradle is not quite big enough for both of them, and if so, they will not be very comfortable. What shall we do? The poor children have accidentally broken their pitcher. No wonder they are sad. An afternoon nap. Lucy has just been asleep in the great armchair. She little thinks what Kitty is about. The pump. The children are up early this morning getting some water at the pump. The geese are watching them, as if they were longing to have a little of it. Perhaps the little girl will give them some when she has filled her jar. for she is very thoughtful for dumb animals, and they all like her very much and follow her about. It is a good sign when children are kind to animals. Little playthings. Little Ellen seems ill at ease just now. She has got a nice doll, a chest of drawers, and a doll's cradle, but she is coveting her little brother's playthings besides, and seems cross because she cannot have his horse and stable and little cart. This is very wrong. We should be happy with what we have and not covet what belongs to others. Grandmama. Mamma has brought the children to see Grandmama this afternoon. She is so glad to see them. One of them is handing her some tea. Helping cook. The children are spending an hour in the kitchen with Cook. It's a fine fun for them. In the summer house. Baby is hugging and kissing his sister in the summer house. It's a nice, cool place to play in. The empty pocket. The children are buying some fruit at the fruit store. Poor little Richard and his sister are walking sadly away, for they have no money. A strange seat for Dolly. Baby has strayed up into a spare room where Papa keeps some of his old books, and she is having rare fun here all by herself. She has brought up her two dolls, one of which she has seated in a basket, and is finding a seat for the other on a great old clasped book. Papa little thinks what Baby is about, but I dare say she will be missed presently, and they will find her very busy up here. Studious Herbert. Herbert is a studious boy, fond of books, and is very careful to learn his lessons well. These long winter evenings are very nice for learning, and just now Herbert is making great progress. It is late this evening, but he is not willing to go up to bed till he has learned all his lessons for tomorrow. He would have learned them earlier, but he had been to tea with his cousins, and so when he came home just now, he lit the lamp and sat down to his work. When Herbert leaves school, I dare say he will get a good situation, as anyone will be glad to employ him. Waiting. Maria is waiting for her little cousin to come and play with her in Papa's bedroom. She is standing on the top of the stairs listening, and is wondering why she does not come. She will come up presently, I suppose, and then they will have a nice game all to themselves, without disturbing anyone in the house. You shan't come in. The boys are at home just now for their holidays, and Mamma is half distracted with their noise. When it is fine, they prefer to be in the fields, but when it is wet, they are chasing one another about all the day long. One of them has just run up into this room and is telling his brothers outside they shall not come in. Caught. Master Andrew has just been caught by the old gentleman, who is giving him a few smart strokes with his cane. I am glad of it, for he is a mischievous lad. He went to school just now, but instead of hastening there, he thought he would stroll through the plantation and see if he could find any birds' nests. Now, the old gentleman is very fond of his birds and will not have them disturbed. Hearing the crashing of the bows, he soon discovered the offender, and after a short chase, caught him. This little beating serves Andrew right, and I hope he will in future leave the poor birds alone. Be a good Dolly. Louisa is so fond of her dolls. She has 2 of them, and places a pillow in her little basket chase and draws them about the garden. She is about as attentive to them as if they were two little babies, and takes more care of them than some thoughtless mothers do of their children. She is going to take them out for a ride this morning, and is kissing them. I hope she will make them a comfortable seat on the pillows, or else they will not have a very nice ride. The little squirrel. The children are offering some bread to a pretty squirrel their father found in the wood. Nearly dressed. Matilda is nearly dressed. She will be ready for her breakfast now in a few minutes, and then must make haste to school. The kites. There is a nice breeze this afternoon, and the hillside is just the place for flying a kite. 2 kites are already flying merrily up in the sky, and our 2 young friends will fly theirs when they get a little higher up near the windmill. The pets. The bookseller. The boys like to call on Mr. Leaf because he has such nice books, but sometimes they merely sit down and read them. Taking a photograph. The squire has called at the studio today to have his card taken, and the photographer is placing him in the best position. Rather tight. Richard has come for a pair of boots and is trying a pair on, but he thinks they are rather too small for him. A letter, sir. A messenger has just brought the student a letter. The dog is looking at the man rather suspiciously. Musing. Little Hester is leaning on the palings this afternoon, with her head on her hand, as if in a deep study. I wonder what she is musing about. I dare say if the little bird above her could speak, he would ask her the subject of her thoughts. I hope they are good, hopeful, cheerful thoughts, and I think they are, judging from her serene and happy countenance. The winged letter carrier. The pigeon is a pretty creature, and is sometimes useful in carrying letters very long distances. Little Susan is quite overjoyed this morning to find one of Papa's pigeons dropping at her feet a letter which it must have carried very many weary miles. Watching Kitty. Kitty is very sly in her movements, and Little John is watching from the window to see whether she is up to any mischief. The dog seems, from his look, as if he half expected her also. The little birds on the bough just above her had better take care of themselves, for Kitty would soon be after them if she once saw them. But she is not likely to catch them, for Kitty has no wings to follow them when they fly away. The sledge. It is a cold winter morning, and the children are amusing themselves by riding in a sledge over the frozen snow. The birds are huddling together on the bare branches, as if they felt the cold very keenly. It is pleasant, no doubt, for the riders, but whether it is for our little friend who is drawing the sledge, I'm not sure. At all events, it will warm him this cold morning, and that will no doubt do him good. A, B, C. A, B, C are, as you know, the first 3 letters of the alphabet, and the children in the picture are just beginning to learn them. It seems hard to them at first, but it will be easy presently. They will soon learn the name of all the letters, and then will go on to learn what letters make a word, and then what meaning the word has. Thus they will soon be able to read and spell every word, and sit down and read the nice books in Papa's library. Little Alfred's Prayer. My Heavenly Father, I thank Thee for all Thy care and kindness, for all Thy mercy and love. I thank Thee for my home and friends, for my comforts and blessings. I commit myself to Thy continued care and kind keeping. I pray that You will keep all evil from me and bless my dear friends and all who are about me. Help me to be sorry for my sins, to please Thee in all things, and to grow in all virtue and godliness. Hear me, my Father, for my dear Saviour's sake. Amen. Which way, please? Edwin has had a long walk in the country, but in returning home has wandered out of the way and lost himself. He is just now standing on an eminence in the road, and seeing some travellers is shouting to them and asking them to direct him. Can't go out yet. It is pouring heavily, though the boy with the basket does not seem to mind it. Annie is impatient, but she must wait till the rain is over. The schoolmaster. The old schoolmaster is busy with his pupils this afternoon and is reading something which they are writing out. Some of the words puzzle little Joseph, as he does not know how to spell them. His tiny brother, who sits at his side, is making straight strokes. The saw pit. It is dinner time, and the children have just brought their father's dinner to the saw pit, and are spreading a clean cloth for him on a large log of wood. The sledge chair. Harriet is giving her little sister a ride in a sledge chair, and she has got Mamma's muff to put her hands in. The rude schoolboys are stopping to quiz the funny chair, but Harriet does not mind their laugh, for she knows her little sister will like the ride. Off to sea. Sydney has just bidden his friends goodbye and is off for his first voyage. He is so fond of the sea that nothing else would please him. His ship is lying out there in the distance, and he is going on board as the vessel sails tomorrow for China. Want anything today? The poor old man is hobbling along from door to door to see if he can sell anything. Don't be afraid. Amy has got a penny for the lad who has swept the path, but she is quite afraid of him. Showing baby the pictures. Mamma is always ready to please her little baby girl in any way she can. She has just got a nice picture book and is going to show baby the pictures. Baby is so eager to see them that she has thrown aside her little mug and trumpet and woolly lamb in order to look at them. How pleased she will be for Mamma to take her on her knee and explain them to her. Rather feverish. Master Edmund is lying on the sofa this morning, unwell. They have sent for the doctor, who is feeling his pulse and looking at his tongue. The doctor will send him some medicine presently, but he does not know that it is all through eating too much of that currant tart yesterday. Ringing the bell. Little May is but a dot of a child to walk down the street all by herself and ring the school bell. But she can do this quite safely and does it nearly every day. The bell is rather high up for her to reach it, but she can just stretch her little fat fingers up to it and pull it, and then someone opens the door for her. She is very fond of going to school and always contrives to be there early. School over. The clock has just struck, and the children are coming down the stairs to go home. They are glad to go, the more so as it is half holiday today, and as it is fine weather, they want to be at their games in the fields. The little girl coming down the stone stairs is leaning over the rails looking for her brother, who is just below and does not see her. He will wait for her, I am sure, for he would not be so unkind as to go home without her, for he is very fond of his little sister. The boot cupboard. This is our boot cupboard, where we keep the blacking and brushes and Papa's boot jack. I will tell you whom they belong to. All these 5 pairs. The tall big ones belong to dear Papa, as you may suppose, and are strong ones, as he has to walk very much. Mamma's boots are not kept here, but in her own bedroom. Then the next tall pair belong to Brother Richard, and are almost as large as Papa's. The pair between Richard's boots belong to Sister Mary, and the pair nearer the door to little Susan. The tiny pair next to the door are dear little babies, but they are not of much use to him, for his fat little feet need a larger pair. The end. That was a very long story today, my Storytime Stars. Did you enjoy it? Did you like it? Let me know by making sure you click that big thumbs up like button. Let me know. Did you enjoy it? I'll do more of these in the future if you did. I hope you sat still and listened carefully. Until the next time, my Storytime Stars.